This is a crash course in how to get started in Google Tag Manager. I wore my helmet to be safe. So basically, if you want to use Google Tag Manager, it allows you to add tags, bits of code snippets like JavaScript to a site so you can track different events. So you can not only track Google Analytics, page views, and page views in Google Ads or Facebook, but you can also track particular events like if somebody filled out this form, or even more granular things like if they wanted to fill out just a particular aspect of this film, like if they just wanted to, this form just wanted to do this name or an email, we could actually capture that, create a trigger against that rule, and then fire a bit of script whenever somebody does that. To do that, you'll really want to get started in going to Google Tag Manager, actually signing up for the platform. So it's pretty easy. You just start for free. You're just going to use your Google account. Once you're in there, if you have accounts already, you'll see your accounts listed here. So we have our Anvil account right there. What you can do is go ahead and create a new account if you don't have any. You can create an account, and an account is just a group of different websites or apps, and then the actual container is actual code that will go on your app or website. So in this particular case, you'd probably just put your website name if you're just going on one website, or even you could say a group of websites, you could just put that name there. Once you get in there, and you could also, if you already have a container, you could go in and create, or you already had an account, you create a new container. But let's go ahead and use our existing one here for our Anvil website. You'll see these workspaces. Generally, you'll start off with just a default workspace. These are just different places you can work in all at the same time. So I could be editing code, or my friend Elise here could also be editing different code. We could be working at the same time. Here we already have a trigger that's already in place that I was working on earlier. Another thing you can do here, this is really cool, is I can press preview, and you'll be using this a lot to test out your tags. And once you have preview selected, you can go back to your website, refresh it, and then you'll actually see this preview of what tags are actually firing, when, and then you can actually see what tags have not fired. But you can actually look at different activities over time that have happened, particular clicks when the page loaded, and see what tags have happened when, what is the state of the actual Google Tag Manager at the time of the different events. You can see how the variables might change over time. For instance, the event is changing, and then you click, you would have click class or click elements depending on what you clicked. Actually getting into Google Tag Manager is fairly easy. So once you get in there, you just create new tags if you want to create something new. So if you just want to do like a basic HTML tag, you can come in here. You could do Google Analytics, Google Ads, Facebook. There's all kinds of ones you could do. If you just do a custom HTML, you could literally write HTML in here. Close that out. And then you could press a trigger. This is the rules. So you could just have it fire on all pages. And then we'd have just my test tag here. Could just fire at any time on all the pages. Save. Refresh. And then we go back to our page, refresh this. And we can see in the test, our HTML tag fired. And we're good to go. Now, obviously, this is just on my test, and I haven't actually submitted it. It's just on my particular computer, and not everybody else's out on the webs. But if we say, I'm going to leave this preview mode, and then we like this little tag that we created, so we'll go ahead and submit it, and this gets it actually out on the web first. Literally anyone who comes to your website will then have that tag fire whenever they view a page view, and then it's called HTML test. And it's always good to name things. You could also put details on it. Please delete. And then you just press publish. It just takes a few seconds, and then it is now a tag published. The cool thing too is we can go back to the default workspace. Is you could always go back to these different versions and actually delete anything you created out here. So if we want here, we can see what was recently pushed, and then we could go into a new version and actually delete that out, or even roll back to a previous version if we wanted to right here. We could go and set as latest version, or you could even come into this new one and just delete that version as needed. In terms of getting Google Tag Manager on your site, if you have WordPress, there are plugins like this Google Tag Manager for WordPress that was created, so you can just add in the plugin and you just put in your Google Tag Manager ID that you'll get if you go back to Google Tag Manager. You go to your admin and you do right here next to it, you have your ID. Or if you need to actually add in the code yourself, you could go in, press this install Google Tag Manager, and it gives you the actual code, and then it tells you where to place that code on your particular website. And once again, as I said, you can add it to WordPress. There's this Analytics Mania has how to attach it to a Wix website. Another really common one is Squarespace. So this particular blog post is Paul Castillo has a how to add it to your Squarespace, but it's relatively simple. And so there's a lot of good resources out there to add Google Tag Manager to wherever you want. So once again, you can add Google Tag Manager to be able to get your codes for Google Analytics, Google Ads, Facebook, whatever type of script you want to get in there. You can put it in there, and you can create very specific rules. And that way, you can have rules when someone does an event, like fills out a form that's an Ajax form, or goes to a particular page, or whatever you're looking for. And you have a lot of control over it, Google Tag Manager. So thanks very much. Please subscribe to our channel or go to any of our webinars if you want to learn more. Thank you very much.